Our country, Uganda, is rated on tier 2. The ratings are in 3 categories. There is tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3, whereby tier 1 are those countries that have done almost everything to prevent trafficking in persons. They have shelters in place for victims, they have all institutions working right in place, and so many other things that they have put in place, and especially to do with prevention, protection, and prosecution of perpetrators. Now, to say the least, also to include partnerships with all parties involved in combating trafficking in persons. Therefore, as Uganda, we stand at tier 2, but tier 2 also has 2 categories. There is a lower tier and the upper tier. Good enough now, we are in the upper tier, thanks to the efforts of everyone, all partners, all parties, and every citizen that plays a role in combating trafficking in persons.
Let us come together. Let us come together. Let us move together, journey together, pull together. Harambee is important to fight this vice of exploiting and even killing our own. Our prayers must not be a one-time event. They must be a call to sustain this action and compassion. We must continue to educate ourselves, our communities, and our leaders about our complexities of human trafficking. We must support anti-trafficking initiatives, organizations, and policies that protect the vulnerable and hold perpetrators accountable. I would like to thank the Mwambares, those who played the different skits that were played here, the songs that were composed and sung well. We must thank them. Please give them a clap of hands. I have heard the message from the Ministry of Internal Affairs. Thank you for that very good information to enlighten us on what is happening. But I know that even in Uganda right now, in Kampala, a lot of injustice is done on our children, and we see it every day, and we're not doing anything. Right now, you go to the streets of Kampala, you find so many kids exploited and using them to get money for the rich people and the alerts. What are we doing as internal affairs? What are we doing as religious people, as the song went? The kids are there, children are there, and where do we know who brings them on the street? Can something be done so that the children are protected and they go back to their respective places to study and grow like others have grown for the future, for their future and for our future?
On this day, on behalf of the Episcopal Conference, Archbishop Paul has led us in prayer. But the wish of all the bishops is that this trafficking in human beings be stopped. Yes, we need to look for work. Yes, we need to live, because God said to us, by the sweat of your brow, you will get your food. We all need to have meaningful employment, but then trafficking humans for slavery and for destruction is not what God wants to be done. For that matter, therefore, praying with you and praying with the bishops, we wish that this practice of human trafficking, taking them for cheap labor, taking them for sexual indulgence, taking them for anything, and cutting short their lives is not what God wants at all. Consequently, in their prayer and in your prayer, the bishops pray and the church prays that all these will come to an end.
Considering the 2023 Counter-Trafficking in Persons report, we experienced, or we had a decline in the number of cases as compared to the year 2022 from 1,200 to 1,006. And this was a very, very tremendous result that came out of all efforts by parties involved in combating trafficking in persons, and this represented a 16.16% decrease in the number of cases that were reported to police. To that note, I must say 510 of those numbers of the 1,006 represented children. Now, this is to bring to our attention how much effect trafficking in persons is having in our country on children. It represents over 50.69% of the total numbers, meaning that most of our victims in trafficking in persons are in the category of the children. And this, to our attention as Ugandans, as the public, as a country, also calls for a lot to do with parental responsibilities, which we have thrown away. Many of our children find themselves on their own, they learn things on their own, and this puts them in that position where they are very vulnerable, to the extent that the perpetrators or the traffickers will be looked at as the so-called guardians, or they may be looked at by our children as their saviors. And no wonder that these numbers are high. Many of the children find themselves victimized, because when they look back to their parents, their guardians, who should be responsible for them, they have left them on their own. So it's also a call upon all of us, the parents, the guardians, all those that are responsible for our children, to make sure that we take care of them responsibly. It's even a constitutional requirement to make sure that we take care of our children.
We annually organize a National Day of Prayer to pray for the victims of human trafficking and also to create awareness against human trafficking. Our prayers annually is focused on the theme established by the UN. For this year, we focus essentially on the theme on the children, the theme of targeting the children. Necessary that we should not leave any child behind in the fight against human trafficking. The UN has established that in one of the 3 people trafficked, one is a kid. And for our case in Uganda, when you look at the statistics which was submitted this year in May, it was established that 2 out of 3 which are people trafficked is a child. So for us this year, we are praying essentially for the children to reduce their vulnerability and to advocate for policies that can enhance the security and the dignity of children. There are a number of factors causing children to be trafficked. They lack education, they lack food at home, and parents are not taking their role to address their plight. So we have organized this year a prayer to advocate for the right of the children.
I had planned to be in Bangkok, Thailand, but when I landed on the airport, Savannah Boom, the airport of Thailand, I was captured, trafficked, and forced to go in Myanmar on the gun point. So while there, after reaching there, my passport was confiscated, was taken, my phone was taken. So they said they had bought me for a lifetime via the agent. So I was there in a miserable life. I was forced to do online scamming. I was tortured heavily with electricity, shock, sticks every day, doing press-up, standing in a sunny place for a day, being arrested in a dark room for 4 hours without eating. So it was the worst experience there. And while there, I wished to die, but God never gave me a chance of losing life. I went there in September last year. I was out in April this year.
The issue of human trafficking is the issue of the immense poverty in Uganda, whereby people accept to be trafficked in order to gain some wealth, in order to gain some money, so as to sustain their lives and their families. The high rate of unemployment in Uganda also makes these people to easily accept to be trafficked across Uganda and outside Uganda, because they think that when they get trafficked there, they will earn something to sustain their families. Also, the issue of immense corruption, mainly at our border points and the airport, the international airport in Entebbe, whereby the traffickers have to bribe the immigration officers for them to pass, for them to clear the traffickees, the culprits, the victims. So that has constituted a lot of problems and a lot of causes to the trafficking of our persons outside Uganda and across Uganda.
For us at Mwagale Foundation, we say, since we can read, we are going to unveil the hidden things or the hidden information in the books and bring it live to our people, because Africans are artistic people. We have the best talents when it comes to art. So I emphasize so much that if you want to put any communication out there, art is always going to be the best way. If we want people to understand what human trafficking is, we need to use art, because some people don't know that they are being trafficked. The traffickers themselves don't know that they are trafficking. So we need to use art to communicate. First of all, art reaches so many people. Secondly, art can easily be understandable.